Good. If I press record, that's recording. Okay. You know what? It's taken a long journey to get here, but we have Courtney on the podcast, and I'm so excited. And she has a beautiful 4-year-old warm blood mare who I have been following you guys for quite some time. And I'm just going to pass it off to you because we've had technical issues. So we are just excited to be here and to be talking to the audience. So Courtney, go ahead and tell everybody kind of your story and a little bit of who you are.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks for having me on. I'm Courtney, and I have a 4-year-old Oldenburg mare named Frida. I've had her for about 10 months now. She came to me, and I immediately kind of felt something was a little off with her and that she was a little uncomfortable in a lot of different ways, and it took a while to figure out what was going on, but we finally did, and I've been sharing the process on TikTok, especially that we've gone through, and it's been really eye-opening as to how many like neck issues there are out there, but also I'm really grateful to have connected with so many people because it's made me feel less alone, and I've also learned a lot from others that have shared what their stories and what they've done for their horses.
Oh, absolutely. I'm sure that, the floodgates probably open for you, and the more you share, the more people feel, they want to share their stories with you. And that's the great thing about social media. And I think that, social media can be such a scary place for people, which understandably, but so I want to start from I want to start from the beginning. So you got her 10 months ago. And, I saw the video about her breeding and how she came to be, essentially. And so I kind of want to talk about, your pre-purchase, how that went, because we had my vet on last year, and we were talking about neck issues back then, and they were just starting to kind of come out of the woodwork, so to speak, but now I feel like they're even more prevalent than they were a year ago. So talk to us about how did the pre-purchase go? Because he even said that the neck isn't really something that they even consider radiographing. So tell us about how that process looked for you.
So I did what I thought was the full works for her pre-purchase exam. Flexions, she passed her flexions beautifully. Neuro exams. There was the test where they crossed their leg over. She was a little slow to bring it back, but nothing too alarming because she's also just large and gangly. She was 173 centimeters when I got her, so that's a little over 17 hands. We did radiographs, 58 of them. I now know that a full set is 60, so I was missing the oblique view of C6, C7, and that's where when we took those radiographs later, we saw a lot of the issues. So I did do neck and back x-rays, and there wasn't really any significant findings in her neck in the ones that we took that normal vets could see. I now have learned that we sent those PPE images to a radiologist and had him review them, and he could see more than just the two normal vets that looked at the neck images. And I think it's partially vets aren't used to just reading necks. It's such a new thing that it's my new vet, Frida's vet now, the local one, always recommends having a radiologist look at neck and back x-rays because they're just so complicated.
Yeah, I mean, that is and that's because when my Dr. Fernando came on, we talked specifically about pre-purchase exams and especially, when you were buying, really whenever you're buying a large purchase like that, I mean, you always want to, I think a lot of the time people really balk at the price of a pre-purchase and they're like, oh my gosh, it's just so expensive. And, I don't want to spend thousands on the pre-purchase. And you're kind of like, well, it could save you thousands and thousands down the road. But also it's kind of, my vet always says, he said the more you dig, the more you're going to find.
The more you'll find,
right.
For sure.
So he said no horse, whether it's a, yearling or a 25-year-old, jumper, you're going to find something. So
totally. I agree.
Yeah. And so it's just interesting, I think that people can kind of go both ways. And I would love to hear the audience's opinion on this and your opinion and like how much is too much and how much is not enough. It's always that like fine, like balance.
I know. I did a post about that, just asking everyone, like, what do we do for PPEs anymore? Because I felt like I did almost everything minus 2 x-rays, which seem to be the most important ones.
Yeah.
Because that's where a lot of the neck issues, the serious ones, come from, is that C6, C7, which is the very lower base of the neck.
Right.
That's where ECVM typically lives. That's where all sorts of problems happen. And the response was kind of all over the place from everyone. From I don't do a pre-purchase exam and hope for the best, or I go off of feel, or I just do flexions.
Yeah.
And I have learned now that from my new trainer, I've learned so much from her. I'm so grateful for her.
Yeah.
Just feeling like when she looks for a horse, she says when she rides the horse, she looks for a horse that is like the most even on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
And when I rode Frida, she was definitely stiffer on the right side than the left side.
Yeah.
And the right side is where most of her issues are. So it completely makes sense. I just wasn't educated enough to know. I think I came from like that old school way of thinking that like 12 to 25 years ago when I was riding, it was like, oh, every horse has a way worse side than the other side, and we just never thought anything of it.
Right.
Every horse has a naughty moment, and some horses are just bad and feisty, and others are just, and now I like look at their behaviors in a completely different light, that they actually mean something. And so if I were to do a pre-purchase again, I think I'd do exactly what I did, except for all 60 instead of 58. Have a radiologist review it. And then really, I feel like I'm a little more educated on how they should feel under saddle.
Yeah.
And I feel like I have eyes that I trust more now through the vets that I've met and with my new trainer. So I would do it again. I think it also just depends on what you're using the horse for and maybe the purchase price.
Yeah. So, and I think too, like, us adult amateurs, like, I feel like we already have like so many neuroses and like neurotic behavior. Like, do you feel like now that you've gone through this, cause I know that with Ollie, my baby horse, he got EPM at 4 years old and he became neurologic, and we thought that it could possibly be neck issues like wobblers or something like that. It was a whole thing. I know that going through something traumatic like that, and yours is very traumatic. I mean, she's undergone 3 surgeries now. Do you feel that is like mentally affected you in terms of doing it again and make you hesitant, or do you feel more confident going into it?
I'd say that it depends on the day. It's like such an emotional journey that like one day I'm like, oh my God, like, yes, I'd do it again. And yes, I hope to have another horse someday. And then the other side of me is like, oh my God, why would I do it again?
Right.
At the end of the day, I think I've realized that if I do it again, it's always going to be a huge risk.
Yeah.
Like, they're living beings.
100%.
We can't know everything about them. You can see something on a radiograph and it can either mean something or not. It can be clinical or it cannot. And it's just, I guess, using your best judgment, trusting who you have helping you. And I think I'm such a horse girl that I'll always be a horse girl and I'll always have a horse.
Absolutely.
So yes, I think eventually I would do it again. As much as like I wish I could say probably no. Like the brain maybe should say no, but my heart is always gonna need a horse.
Yeah, because like what's the alternative, right? So like if you don't do it again, then you don't get another horse, and you're just like, oh, well, I feel like that's a loss too. So it's a loss if you do it and a loss if you don't do it.
Exactly.
So it's like, like you said, it's just a big giant risk going into it, but that's life, that's
Yeah.
just the way that life is. And, you just
It
got
is
to
life.
roll with it.
Yeah. And I've learned that, like, I have learned to appreciate Frida, my mare, in different ways. She's not exactly what I thought I was, getting, or she's never going to be what I had hoped we could make her or whatever. But she's so much more than that. And our bond, like on the ground, and just working with her and spending so much time with her on the ground and caring for her and trying to figure out how to make her most comfortable and stuff. I think we have a closer bond than if she were my successful, young dressage horse.
Yeah.
So it's been a sad emotional journey, but it's also been like full of like bonding and happy moments where we've overcome, these new surgeries, which were scary to get through. But when she was with them and seeing her now, I am so happy we did them.
Oh, I'm sure. And I think there's always some silver lining behind these moments, right? Like you said, it becomes so much more about the connection and the relationship that you have with the animal. And it truly just, I don't want to say throws the riding career out the window, but it really, like, that's not even on your brain, right? Like you're just really worried about making sure that she's comfortable and making sure that she's okay. And anything that you can support to get her through this is what you got to do,
Exactly. Yeah, she's more than my sport animal or whatever you want to call her. She's always been, like, when I was looking for a horse, I wasn't just looking for talent and rideability and all of that. I really wanted the personality, because I feel like I'm that kind of like weird lady in the barn that like talks to horses like they're my
the ones that I make videos about, because I am that person too.
I am that, and I talk like high pitched to them, and sometimes I'll just be like, yeah, and then someone walks around the corner, and I'm like, hi, just me here.
Just me, it's fine. No, absolutely. And that's what I think is so. It's just for people that aren't horse people, it's just really difficult for them to understand the connection that you have with these animals. And yes, like, it's just a different connection. I love my dogs. I know you love your dogs, and, it's just a different thing. And not to say it's more or less, or it's just different. And so I want to get into, two things I have rolling around in my brain is one, you are a working amateur, a working woman amateur, and this has been a huge toll on you, like mentally, physically, emotionally, all of those things. So kind of walk me through and the audience through how you dealt with that in the beginning and how you're dealing with it now.
Oh my gosh, it was hard. In the beginning, it was a lot of vet appointments and I'm very grateful my work was able to let me like take time off to be with Frida during vet appointments. I think it was really important for me to be there to advocate for her and just explain what I've seen and be able to show exactly like, okay, when we do this happens. And it was emotional because at first there's so many secondary things that happen to neck issues. So it was like, at first it was like, oh, she popped a splint. Like she's kind of wobbly because she popped a splint. And so like we took x-rays of the splint and it wasn't pushing in. So we gave her a little bit of time and slowly, watched it, brought her back to work. And then she was jerking her head all crazy and grinding her teeth, and she eventually became so stiff to the right that she could barely turn her head to the right. And that's when I just was like, oh my gosh, like I knew you were stiffer to the right, but like not this stiff. It was emotional. Like it took a lot of visits, and it just took a lot of like advocating for her. And we also like, she had ulcers. So like, I was like, oh my gosh, yay. Okay. I shouldn't be excited that my horse has ulcers. But I was like, maybe she's so uncomfortable in her stomach. That's why she's moving funny.
Right.
Like, you know, like the stomach acid like sloshes around one way and she kind of like takes a funny step because she's like, oh, ow. Like, so then she was on Gastrogard and sucralfate, and I'm so grateful to the amazing barn I'm at that they were able to, because that in itself is like something, being like having a job I couldn't do, giving it to her before she eats, like a couple times a day. And, you know, she has to have an empty stomach so many hours before and everything in order for them to work, that we did 1 month of treatment and rescoped her and they were gone. So like, wow. I'm so grateful to the barn, that team. So we ruled that out. We put her on Regimate, made sure that like her heat cycles weren't causing pain. We just kind of like process of elimination. And then when I showed my vet her on the lunge, tracking to the right, and just watching how she would just only hold her head like super high and jerk her neck like this, or nose to the ground. She was never comfortable anywhere in between. So she was just trying to find any place to hold her head where it made her more comfortable. And then that was, my vet just was like, it's neck, like it's total neck. And so she retook some of the images, and then when she looked at my PPE images, realized that I didn't have the oblique view of C6, C7, and she took those and immediately like saw stuff, like on site in person. And so then we sent it to the radiologist, and it was emotional. Like waiting for that radiology report, I felt sick to my stomach when we got it, and he suggested a CT myelogram, even more sick to my stomach. But then I was like, okay, maybe we have an answer, and like I'm gonna get her that CT myelogram. And we went and did that, and when I got the report, it was like heartbreaking. I didn't know if I was gonna have to put her down. I get emotional, sorry.
No,
I didn't know if I was gonna have to put her down or what her future was. And it was really hard, but I was like so determined to find her the right help that I just spent hours online researching what even it meant, you know, because at first there's all these like huge terms. And also I was given like a couple names by people, horses with neck issues and surgeons.
You're gonna make me cry. Oh my god.
No, I'm sorry.
No.
I don't know why I'm such an emotional person, but
no, it's so scary.
I just love her so much, and I was able to talk to a vet at Alamo Pintado, which was he was so nice and so just informative. And I was able to also talk to Dr. Judy. I listened to a podcast by Dr. Travis Toll from Ocala Equine, just explaining what foraminal stenosis is, because that's what she was diagnosed with, was 3 areas of foraminal stenosis and a cystic subchondral bone defect in her neck, and she had a piece of like floating bone in one of the areas too. So she had 5 things going on, and just the fact that these surgeons, they all care so much about my, at the time 3, she's 4-year-old mare that's done nothing, and they spend an hour or 2 on the phone with me, answering all my questions and educating me. I'm so grateful for that, because I was able to understand what was going on. So foraminal stenosis is where the bone changes. So the facets change, they enlarge, and the foraminal space is where the nerve exits the spinal cord. So those nerves eventually get like cut off or squished, pinched, because the foraminal space is narrowed, because the facets have enlarged. So the bone has enlarged, just cutting off the area for their nerve to exit. So that explains why when she would turn her head to the right, or have her neck in a certain position, it would completely just pinch off the nerve, because the space was narrowed already. So certain movements she just couldn't do without being in extreme pain. And it explained all of her behaviors. And I'm so glad I did the CT, as scary as it is. Like it shows everything, you know, and she had the symptoms to match it. So that's where, you know, you need your vet and your trainer and all of that, because you can find things. She has things in other parts of her neck that are way less significant, and, you know, probably a lot of horses have, but these were more major and causing her issues. So I'm just so grateful to everyone that has educated me on all of this, but it obviously it's been really emotional. I think that was your original question. Sorry for the ramble and the tears.
No, it's good. And I get emotional because now I'm sure I have makeup all over my face and whatever, but you know, I just don't think it takes me back, and I'm just gonna really try to hold it together. Takes me back to having I remember those car rides to UGA and with my best friend, and thinking about all the things that it could be wrong, and that he's going in to get spinal taps done and muscle biopsies, and they're doing all of these things, and it's so scary and it's awful. And you don't know, are they gonna, you know, like we did all that, and then we got him back home, and then he's falling down in my front yard, and my husband's, you know, like, I had a complete mental breakdown, and oh my gosh.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. I just, you know, it's so scary when these things happen, and so I just feel for you. That's why I felt so compelled to reach out to you, because I just feel like, you know, it's so scary, and it's just when you go through these things, it's so important to have support and to feel like you have, you know, a community and people you can talk to, and I mean, even just to call and you know vent to, or cry to, or have a glass of wine with, that somebody that knows and relates to what's going on. You know, no one's ever going to know totally, but even just someone that has been in that situation, because it, quite frankly, just fucking sucks, you know, and it's it just is terrible. So I just, you know, I feel for you so much, and I know that so many people do, and I just commend you for sharing your story, because I know it's hard, you know, it's hard to even, you know, you're dealing with all this emotionally, physically, you're still having to work, you still have other relationships in your life, and then you also think that, okay, well, I want to share this because I want people to, if anyone else is going through this, I want to connect with them and share my story. I mean,
exactly.
It's just incredibly intense.
And it's getting more common. That's what's so sad, is it's just like I feel like every week now I hear of someone, either someone through someone, you know, like 2 degrees of separation, or like a friend and someone I know whose horse is diagnosed with some sort of neck issue, and it's because of a behavioral problem that tipped them off to it, or because all of a sudden their horse is lame, or it's really sad. But yeah, having my husband, my family, my mom, because at first I was like, oh my God, is it evil to put her through 3 surgeries?
Right.
Like, is that not the right answer either? Like, three times she has to go under, and 3 times, you know, and like 3 to 4 weeks in the hospital, and I really had to weigh that decision too. But my mom said to me, she's like, Courtney, what would you do if this were your dog? Because the other thing is, like, Frida's Frida's condition is it's progressive. Like it's kind of an unknown because the facets are likely to continue to enlarge. So it's taken care of the problem for now. Hopefully, she has a recheck in like a week and a half. So we'll see what the consensus is. But I'm always going to be battling like the severe arthritis she has, that and just her being comfortable. But I kind of asked Dr. Judy, like, so like, is it like, could I get 4 more years of her being comfortable? Could I get 10? Like, is it 2? Is it, you know? And they really don't know. He says a lot of horses, when they have more like neuro issues and stuff, it's kind of between 8 and 12. You know, she's only 3. But my mom said to me, "What would you do for your dog?"
Yeah.
And then it was like completely clear. Like, I would fight for my dogs. Absolutely. And I would want to give them the best chance. And I asked my vet, like, is it cruel to put her through those 3 surgeries? Like, I'm so worried about her waking up from them. And, you know, I got to see them wake up horses from at UC Davis when I visited Frida. It is incredible how much precaution they take, how many people just hands-on they have when they're waking a horse up. It, they know how to do it now. There's so much assistance from the ropes and the harnesses and the escape doors that they have, and huge pads that they hold up between them and the horse. Like, the entire rooms are padded. Like, it is incredible what they can do. It's funny because Frida was known for waking up from anesthesia, and she takes a little longer to wake up. She's still like on the table, but when they start to like get her up, she like grounds herself on all 4 legs, spreads out, and then she's just like frozen for 5 minutes, I guess. And then she just wakes up and she's like, "Oh, okay, like here I am."
She has her like
she's
Bambi
not like
moment.
A thrasher.
Yeah, that's good.
She's not a thrasher or anything. So that was good to learn about her. And then I felt more comfortable with like the 2nd surgery and the 3rd surgery. But yeah, oh man.
Oh my gosh. Man, but you know, that's the thing, is that, you know, you find a good group of professionals and a good group of vets, and it is a life-changing experience, truly. I mean,
oh, it is.
I mean, it's like the amount of weight that you feel lifted off of your chest, knowing that your animal is taken care of and you feel confident is just a complete game changer.
Yeah, and UC Davis is an incredible operation. Every part of their team, from the front desk to the people taking care of like the feed, to the doctors, the students, they are so incredibly nice.
Yeah.
Dr. Judy was just like, I asked, like, can I come visit her? You know, she was there for almost a month, and he just was like, I think she'd love to see you.
Aww.
Like, basically, come as often as you want, which made me feel just so good. He has their best interests at heart, like every day of recovery and before and after. And it, they kind of make you feel like part of the family, and I owe them a lot, like really, truly.
Yeah. So what's the update with Frida now? How is she doing? Where is she? How's everything going?
She's in rehab right now. Still down in California. I have flown to see her about every 10 to 14 days, which has been it's been good to see her in between everything. And she does water therapy, so she does the treadmill therapy.
Nice.
Water treadmill, aquatread. And I got to see her go in that last week, and she's just cool as a cucumber. Just walked right in. And, a lot of some of the assistants that worked there and stuff didn't know her age and stuff. So when they found out she was 4, they're like, "Oh my God, she's so good." She's just, so I'm really grateful that she has like a really just sweet, kind, very willing personality.
Yeah.
And they have a whole vibration stall.
Oh, wow.
So she goes in in that, kind of like a TheraPlate. I think it's called something else, but it's basically the same. And then she goes on the walker twice a day, and they do neck stretches with her.
Nice.
So the neck stretches are 10 times better than before surgery already, and she is 6.5 weeks old. Although she's not like trotted or anything, she is just so much more comfortable.
Good.
And that was my whole goal, was just to get her more comfortable. So it's good.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be so much easier?
Good to see her happy.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be so much easier if you could just be like, girl, can you just tell me how you feel? Can you just?
I know. It totally would. She does kind of, though, with just how like alert she is now. There's like a different little sparkle in her eye. Good. I feel like. So yeah.
She says, thank you, Mom.
I know. I'm like, I'm sorry. Like, part of me's like, I'm sorry I put you through that. But also, like, she was just in the best hands and just so loved on and groomed and watched over that I feel like I really had the right team.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm going to close out this episode with one more question. And if you had someone, oh, it's fine. Oh. The phone just flipped. I don't know why. You know what? We're just
you know why?
Why?
It's the rehab place calling me. Interesting. I'll call them back.
Oh, well, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so if you had someone reach out to you and say, hey, I'm going through a similar experience, or someone that even maybe doesn't reach out to you and is just listening to this, what advice do you have for them, and what words of encouragement would you have?
First of all, anyone can always reach out to me, because I feel like I felt really alone in the middle of it when I knew something was wrong but couldn't quite figure it out, and I had to find the right team. I didn't really know anyone who had been through this, so I think it's that's why I wanted to share my journey. I didn't at first because I was too emotional. I'd maybe like post one thing and then it'd be like weeks or a month before I'd post something else, because I just couldn't put it together.
Yeah.
But now going through it, it's a little easier to talk about, and I have had several people reach out, and it's good to talk through. But oh my God, now I'm forgetting your whole question. You said piece of advice, right?
Yeah. If someone listening to this is going through this, how would you give them words of encouragement?
Yeah. Don't give up. Like, listen to your gut, listen to your horse. I knew something wasn't right, like right off the bat. And if one vet kind of writes it off, but you feel like in your gut just something isn't right, like ask for another opinion. Like, there's no shame in that. As people, we only know what we know, you know, so it's not that the vet is wrong, or, you know, it's just like maybe they haven't experienced it. Like, this is such a new thing, and it's always worth listening to your gut, though.
Yeah, I totally agree. Could not agree with that more, because your gut normally doesn't steer you wrong, and it is trying to tell you something most of the time.
It is.
Yeah.
It definitely is. I've learned that now.
Yeah. Well, go call the rehab place back. Thank you for coming on with us today. And I just so much appreciate.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. I just appreciate you sharing your story. I commend you for it. And I'm a fan. So I'm going to keep following Frida and you and your journey.
Thanks for following.
Of course. Well, keep us posted. And thanks so much for coming on today.
We will.
All right.
Thank
Lots
you.
of love.